Have you heard the phrase duty to consult when referencing Indigenous peoples?
Some people say it should be consent, not consultation.
Let me explain what that actually means. It stems from 3 Supreme Court of Canada decisions on Section 35 Aboriginal and treaty rights. The federal, provincial, and territorial governments have a legal obligation to consult Indigenous peoples before decisions are made that may infringe on these rights. It covers a wide range of government activities, but is most apparent when projects have impacts on the environment and Indigenous peoples' access to land, water, and resources. According to the federal guide on the duty to consult, the seriousness of the impact on rights and the strength of claim on said rights determines the level of consultation required. But how governments fulfill this obligation varies across the country.
Provinces come up with their own sort of policy. Sometimes it's informal, sometimes it's baked into the regulatory regime, sometimes it's not. In many instances across the country, we see also the failure of consultation, where it's just simply not being done, it's not being done well enough.
Advocates say that the process has its limitations.
In 2024, the expectation should be consent, not consultation. And I think it's really important to shift that conversation, because consultation ultimately is based on denial. It's based on the ongoing denial of Indigenous rights. And what we need to move towards is the recognition and implementation of Indigenous rights.
The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples recognizes Indigenous peoples' right to free, prior, and informed consent before legislative and administrative measures are adopted or implemented by a state.
They want to water down the UN Declaration.
Some Indigenous people, however, criticize Canada's interpretation of that.
It's a non-binding declaration, but it sets minimum international standards. They're ignoring that and imposing domestic law to replace the UN Declaration with Canada's definition of that, which is, again, back to the duty to consult.
What do you think about the duty to consult?